Rollermills Part 2. Rollermills are the workhorses of a flour mill. They do the bulk of the grinding. In this chapter, you will learn about feed unit functions, factors impacting grinding effectiveness, and roller mill management. Feed unit functions. For optimal performance, the feed onto the roll should be even across the full width of the roll. To achieve this, there is a feed unit above the rolls consisting of feed rolls and a feed gate. The feed is rolled forward through the gap between the feed rolls and the feed gate. The size of this gap along with the speed of the feed roll rotation determine the feed rate. Above the feed rolls, there is a collection area for stock to accumulate. A sight glass allows the miller to see the level of stock in the roll. Sensors can also be used to detect this level. The feed rolls will speed up or slow down to keep the stock at the same level. If the feed into the feed unit stops, for example, because of a choke upstream, the feed rolls will eventually stop too, so that no stock passes through the grinding rolls. The rolls must not be allowed to run against each other without stock passing through them. This risks metal-to-metal grinding, which both damages the roll surface and creates a dust explosion risk. For this reason, most roller mills will automatically open the roll gap if the level of the stock in the mill gets too low. Grinding effectiveness. Grinding effectiveness is impacted by several factors, including the type of roll surface, roll speed differential, and other design factors. But on a day-to-day basis, it is usually controlled by adjustments of the roll gaps. The gaps between rolls must be carefully controlled. Grinding intensity can be approximated with heat sensors or by tracking the current drawn by the motors. Some rolls have sensors that measure the granularity of milled stocks and adjust the roll gap to meet a target granularity. Grinding effectiveness can be impacted by feed rate. Higher feed rates can reduce effectiveness. If the feed rate is too high for a given roll, the grinding effectiveness can be improved by slowing the feed rate. Theoretically, the grinding effectiveness could be spread over more roll length by using a longer roll or two rolls. But since long rolls can bend slightly, the use of multiple rolls is more likely. Since some passages receive significantly more stock than others, the stock for those passages may be split over multiple rolls. Double stand roller mills are sometimes used in mills. These contain two pairs of rolls, one above the other, to double the roll surface in the same footprint. This can increase capacity, and in some cases grinding accuracy, as the top roll can be used to size stock for the bottom, allowing stocks with a wider size range to be milled. Roller mill management. From day to day, the feed rate to each roll varies only slightly. Changes to grinding effects are mainly controlled through adjusting the roll gap. The most common method of measuring the output of a roll is known as a release test. A ground sample is taken from below the rolls and sieved over a screen. The percentage of material that falls through the screen is taken as a measure of the grinding intensity of that roll. The percentage is calculated by dividing the weight of the throughs by the weight of the sample. The screen used in the test should match the screen used in the plan sifter section that follows the roll being tested. Release tests are more commonly taken on the head brake rolls, but they can be taken for other rolls as well. For each roll, the release should fall within a target range. If the release is above the limit, the roll gap should be opened slightly. If the release is below the limit, the roll gap should be closed slightly. This should be repeated until the release falls within the specified limit. An exception to this is rolls that flake the stock, for example on the head reduction rolls. Release testing is not accurate for flaked stocks, although may sometimes be performed after the flake disruptors. Releases are checked at the beginning of each new grist at a minimum. The sieving methods and sample sizes vary between mills. The sample must be representative of the total grind across the full width of the roll. So the sample must be taken at multiple points along the length of the roll. The rolls must grind evenly across their full length, so the roll gaps should be set so that the rolls are parallel. A direct test of this is to take a sample from below the rolls at various points along its length. If the rolls are not parallel and the grinding is uneven, the effect can often be seen visually in the resulting stocks. Another approach is to perform a sieve test on a sample from each side of the roll. The evenness of grinding across the width of the roll can also be detected by measuring the heat produced along the length of the roll. This chapter has covered feed unit functions, factors impacting grinding effectiveness, and roller mill management. The quiz that follows will help you to confirm your knowledge.